Part 2. And this addresses some random things, including the pyramids and the slingshot of the gravitational pull of the moon and other stuff. So, let's address first the gravitational pull of the moon. First of all, let me preface this with a question. Do you think that humans in 1969 or whatever it was, do you think that we landed on the moon? Do you believe that we really did?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
You think scientifically that's possible?
Yeah, I think
So how come, Americans have this habit of like going to a place, and when we discover something, we just run the shit out of it till the ground. How come we've only been to the moon once and we just said, okay, that's enough for us, and that satisfied our curiosity? You don't think that's a little odd?
It's a little odd in a way. That if you think that the moon is probably the cheapest satellite out there.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Fuck, we can pull up and put any shit on the moon and we can use it as a big satellite station, and we don't have to put up all these little shits in
All
orbit.
these fucking mobile little networks. Yeah, so why, it's odd that they didn't or the Chinese or whoever didn't.
That's right. Okay, now you're getting to that other story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's address that other story
so
about
the gods use the moon as a waylay station. So they may still use the moon as a waylay station. Why do you think those people are not on the moon colonizing the moon?
Right.
Yeah, because that's doable. It's not that big.
Yeah, that's...
it's not that far. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's cold? No, just kidding.
No, I mean, it's not. It's not that. It's not that alien environment. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think yes, there may be some of your conspiracy shit there, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah, we don't even have to call it conspiracy shit.
Yeah.
They're just questions.
Yeah, there's a question mark about why, there is no more interest in the moon than there was. We went there, been there, done that, It's like fucking the prom queen, not going back for more. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a relevant question. I don't have an answer for you on that, because I don't think it can be how can I say, it can be some other reasons. It can be that something else became more important or whatever. I don't understand the politics of the time.
Okay.
So I think I'd rather leave it there. Maybe it will come back to the big picture that I'm trying to say, is that there is still some relevance if you look at the historic groupings of the gods today.
Yeah.
It's been very prevalent and relevant in our history up to date. So I do think it may be something we can do. Maybe pull that line, but we'll have to think about it a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Let's talk about the gal in her chariot that went around.
Oh, yeah.
That became.
Yeah. I think her name is Ninurta, and her people were the Eastern people. She was given the domains in the East, China and India, and it was because of her that the Indians got the Tantra sex books and all the secrets of civilization. In other words, if we look at all the medicine that the Chinese use today, what we would say is traditional medicine, and all those
Ayurvedic texts and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all those ancient beliefs, and if you just carry on about remedies and medicines and everything, they were by far the best prepared people of everybody, because she so loved her people that she went to Inca and made him drunk and sort of seduced him so that she could steal the books, or whatever you want to call it, the Emmys or hard drive for civilization, all of them.
Okay. Was he angry about that, or he was just
he was pissed off. He wanted them back, but she galloped away on a chariot, and so he was fucked. Didn't get them back. But also, the gods did not want humans to have all the secrets of society. With other words, the ordering of society, the what they call the caste system in India and in China. Very rigorous class differentiation and very rigorous social organization, taxes. They were way ahead of the rest of the world in as far as medicine, flushing toilets, black powder.
Wow.
You know, they had projectiles, rocket-propelled projectiles that they made war with. You know, so it was culturally, she created a huge advancement for her people, which was unfair according to the gods and the other gods who had given their people nothing but bronze. If you
Right.
understand what I mean. Yeah. So the Chinese had cannons, the Chinese had everything even before we thought of that.
Was she ever like reprimanded for doing that, or?
Oh yeah, they wanted to, they were very pissed off with her, because you must understand that later, the children of the gods later became the kings.
Okay.
And that's where the story of blue blood, and that's why the blue bloods were always from Germany would marry the blue bloods from England. It's got to do with the genetic edge that they had, intelligence above the other people. So,
Huh.
and that's why it was even now it's still quite not that much of a thing anymore, but it's still a thing. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is where the importance of that. That's why the pharaohs would marry their own sisters and their mothers, and
To keep the genetic line.
the genetic line.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So where were we now? We're talking about the gods. Okay, the gods later became half crosses and they became kings.
Right.
They had to give themselves some position to maintain their
Right.
control over this thing that they created, you know, because it was quite a fucking deal. It was like a roller coaster ride into nowhere.
And each god was assigned, or
own
each
people.
king was assigned. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they fought very seriously in their original landing place and homes, and they wanted to destroy Marduk, who was the renegade god that came to Earth with the 200 astronauts, and he loved people.
Or
And he-
200 angels.
Yeah, and he became part of humanity immediately and created the big Babylonian Empire and all that came with that, you know, the Central Eurasian empires of the old, of which the Persian and all those other empires were offshoots, but
Right.
later offshoots. But he gave them all the know-how, and he had a human wife that he loved dearly, and he had sons. And
So the sons were part god, also. Well, part.
yeah, half
king slash god.
Hence the story of Hercules and all these other stories that mythology tells us, you know.
Right.
So they had all these half crosses, and these half crosses had, you know, 3/4 and 7,
What the
8.
fuck? Was
That's
that
my
your
front-
differential?
Yeah, that's my front diff's going.
Oh, awesome.
So,
It's not concerning to you.
no, it is. I'll have to get back home somewhere and have it fixed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shit. Better get out of the sand soon. Now your 4-wheel drive will work, but your 2-wheel drive won't, right?
No, it's my
I mean, your 2 will work, but your
yeah,
4
my
won't.
four-wheel one, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. We might want to get out of the sand soon. Otherwise, we're fucked. Okay, so.
Okay, so this is where the kings came. If you read the Bible, God decided it's time to have kings.
Right.
And they made kings, people of name. They first, before the kings, there was great men like Samson and Hercules.
Right.
And those were crazy bastards that could fight, and they were strong and they were unstoppable compared to humans, you know.
Yeah.
But then after that came they decided that, I don't know what the Richter is in English. What's the book before Kings in the Bible?
In the New Testament?
Old.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll
yeah.
look at Google it and see
Okay.
what the translation is.
What's the word you know?
Richter. Samson was part of all the richters. They gave direction to the tribe of Israel, but they were also, God spoke to them and God gave them messages and God gave them strength, and they were it's like not prophets, but
Psalms.
you know.
I know the 5 books of creation.
Okay, no.
Okay, we'll come back to it.
All right, yeah. You can have a Bible, an English Bible, and look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then the gods made these kings, and these kings had their kingdoms. But before that, how it happened that the kingdoms came about was that they had a more of a fight, and they destroyed their own place because the winds. Do you remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah.
There was a nuclear attack. But what happened was that the fucking
Wind.
the wind changed and it blew the shit back onto them.
So they
Yeah,
fucked
they all
up their
died.
own.
Yeah. They had to run away, leave their people to die, and that's why that the whole central desert was created.
And that's is Egypt or no? That's Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran.
And,
Okay.
the
Middle East.
Yeah, Middle East, Gobi Desert, Saudi Arabia, all of that was
Okay.
fucked in one big fucking war. All right. So then the guys said, listen, let's make peace. We can't kill this bastard. They tried to put him in a pyramid, but he escaped. Apparently somebody cut a tunnel in for him with a tool or something, and he escaped from the pyramid. And then they tried to kill him and put him on Mars, but he fucking escaped again. So he ended up being the rogue god of history.
Okay.
But then they said, well, let's stop this fighting and we will give every god his country or his
Area.
his domain.
Right.
And that's what they call it. And that's when they dished out these domains. And Enkai went to Africa and Southern Africa. And all the other gods were given like the Americas and so on. But then if you now see all the pyramids on Earth,
The ley lines.
yeah, if you go to the east to India and to Sri Lanka and Vietnam, all those stupas, which are just pyramids,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in a different form. The Egyptian pyramids, the Mayan and the Inca pyramids are all on the same
Grid line, basically.
grid line, or
And somewhere in Pennsylvania, there's another one. Like,
yeah, there's some a little bit north or a little bit south, but most of them are spans like the center girdle.
Yeah. Now, what's the purpose? What's the intention of them being on that line? Does that have like?
Yeah, they launch. That's the best. That's why Cape Canaveral are also quite close to that. It's there
Because there's something about the magnetic.
No, it's the spin of the Earth
Okay.
gives you extra propulsion because it's
Okay.
like a slingshot effect.
Right.
You launch there and it slings you and you go with the Earth and then that gives
Shoots you off.
shoots you off.
But I thought they didn't like that because they were finding it too troublesome. Like when they were trying to take the gold back to their planet, it was slingshotting them too far, too fast, or
No. That was all what that they needed that.
Oh, okay. Oh, so those were all launching pads.
Those
then.
were all launching pads, yeah.
The
and
pyramids.
landing pads, yeah.
Holy fuck.
And no other. That's why they were so strongly constructed. Like, there's no other logical use for them in any other way. Because I mean, what the fuck else do you want to do with a fucking big block of snow?
Yeah, exactly. Well, now riddle me this: is that a building up there?
I don't know. It looks like whatever it is, it's fucked.
Okay, so the pyramids and whatnot were put here by the gods, or built by the gods.
Definitely.
Okay.
If you go to into the Andes and you see those, I don't know who the god was that went up to the high mountains and built himself an adobe there because it was cooler or whatever. I forgot the name now. I must just read it, remember. But
The same like Chichen Itza and all those. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But also, if you
How did they all get together and say, okay, let's do this, even though we all
So there
different
was a world
kingdoms?
colonization
Okay.
in one moment.
Okay.
So
I
that's
gotcha.
why everybody would say like humanity started 6,000 years ago. It's bullshit. It started 250,000 years ago with Anunnaki coming here, being the real first humans,
Okay.
the gods, whatever.
Right,
But
right.
they were human, man. And they made us from local humanoids.
Right.
And that's why we cannot. We are at the moment we are battling so hard to put the Neanderthal into a bracket that it fits in, because it doesn't really fit. I mean, he was here for 250,000 years, and we don't
Yeah.
understand why or how. Or archaeologically, there's no explanation for why he disappeared. But
Yeah.
he just was bred out by the first humans that were made. Remember I said to you?
Yeah.
And then the half crosses.
Yeah.
The half crosses were now what modern humans that we were in more, depending on what race you are,
Yeah.
more or less God-like genes
Right,
in
right,
your
right.
genetics. And that's why there's such a big difference between us.
What about dinosaurs?
See, dinosaurs comes from a time before, I think, that really there were any human colonization of. I think it may have overlapped in the last ice age with the mastodons, and that's eaten down. But you know, I do not think that millions of years ago
They
there
were just
was
wiped out by some.
no.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. If you think, you know, if you see what the gods, they could see Earth with whatever that technology they had, and it looked different because it was blue. So that's why Enlil decided to go there.
Is it blue because of all the oceans or what?
I don't know. It's our atmosphere, I think, that makes
Oh,
it blue.
okay. Is that why? Do you think that has something to do with why aliens have sort of thwarted nuclear weapon disposal out in space?
You're back to a more
I know.
modern approach to this. Yes, it must be, because it's also what happened with the gods? Well, they brought the first nuclear weapon to Earth. Then Anu said they must hide it in a cave, and it should not be used for dispute settling
Right.
because of the extremity of the weapon.
Right.
Then Marduk got out of line so badly that they could not fight him anymore. He had the biggest standing military in the history of Earth then. And the gods could not cope with him. He was too strong. He's human, because he was so tightly affiliated with
Right.
the humans at the time, that the gods had to put him back in place. And then what the gods did was they fucking went and opened the cave, took the thing out, two of Enlil's sons, and they did fuck him up with that nuclear device. And but also the problem was, after the fuck up, then the shit blew back and fucked them up too. So
Right,
it fucked
right,
everybody up. So it was the big equalizing event.
Okay. Was this a bridge
Mm.
that just fell down? They tore it down.
No, it was blown up by the South African reconnaissance.
Why?
Long time ago in the war.
Really? Why? Because they didn't want them to get over to the park?
Just to fuck them. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No.
Were you part of that reconnaissance?
Yeah, I was, but I was much younger than. I was more recent than this. So anyway, I think that maybe you're right. That's why I say there's a lot of analogy. You can start pulling the lines through, I think, to modern politics.
Cricket's
and-
pulling on my hair, that's why. I know, because it's hard for me to understand it in a way that isn't of this modern thought, because that's the world that I live in.
Let's go back to, why are we trying so hard to get these guys to become part of mainstream society?
Yeah.
because they were created as slaves, you know,
Mhm.
and they stayed slaves, and Enki wanted them to come to the fold, if you understand what I mean. So and Enki is also it's got a lot to do with America, I think, in modern times. The thinking.
But that wasn't his region,
Yeah,
was it?
that wasn't his region. South Africa,
Right. So,
or Africa.
whose region was America?
I don't know which region was
Oh.
America.
Okay. That's okay. More cows. We're gonna pause for the part 3.